sound okay? Susie was worried about sound. All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming. So it's been a pretty special day here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Obviously, our announcement this morning that we've sold out of all of our tickets, not just reserved seats, but general admission tickets as well here at the Speedway. And that people in Indianapolis that haven't purchased a ticket are going to have an opportunity to watch the race live for the first time since 1950. We've gotten tons of responses already. It's been fun to be in the admin building as people have been coming in excited about what's going to happen here in just a few days. But while we've been really busy the last 365 days thinking about how to sell the Indianapolis 500 in the 100th running of this race, one of the things that's probably more important that we haven't talked about as much because it's been underlying is what are we going to do to make sure that the experience when folks get here, especially with more folks, is a good experience. And one of the benefits of Indianapolis and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is we are in a community that knows how to put on big events. And we're in a collaborative community where we all work very well together. And the Speedway has benefited from a great relationship with all law enforcement across the state, but in particular here in Indianapolis area through the Speedway Police Department, IMPD, the Sheriff's Department, and the State Police. And we're excited today. We've got several members here, so we'll talk a little bit about that relationship and how it works for us for the 100th running. To my right is our new Senior Director of Safety, Mike Bates, former Deputy Chief at IMPD. He retired, and upon his retirement, we had him working for us about 6 hours later. Mark Miles, Allison Millangton have had an opportunity to work with Mike on several big events, including the Super Bowl, as well as some Final Fours and others. There's nobody better in the country at helping pull an organization together to be prepared for everything related to safety and security. So you'll hear from Mike in a moment. And to my left is the Special Agent in charge from the Secret Service, Paul Dvorak, and Paul's going to talk a little bit about that relationship that the Speedway has that goes even beyond just the local law enforcement folks here. So what I'd like to do, at least to begin, is talk a little bit about, as a fan, what you can expect as you come to the Speedway and some of the things you need to have in your mind as you're coming to the race this year. The most important thing, I think, for folks to remember, and we talked about it this morning, are three things. You need to be here early. With 100,000 plus people in the area, more than we've had last year, it is going to be a little bit more challenging to get to the world's largest single-day sporting event. And it is the world's largest single-day sporting event. So that means this year you are going to have to be early. We want you to plan ahead. We want you to really think about what you're going to do when you come to the Speedway. And when you plan ahead, we mean if you don't have a parking spot that you know you have, so if you don't have a credential issued from the Speedway, you will not be able to get into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway without one of those credentials. So what you need to think about is where are you going to park. I know some folks already have parking arranged in some neighborhoods and some other places throughout the town of Speedway and to the north of the racetrack, but you really need to start planning ahead on how you're going to get here. And as you travel, we want you to be very, very patient. It's important that you have that patience because the crowd's going to be bigger. Even when the crowd isn't as big as it's going to be this year, patience is important. It's patience with your fellow fan. It's patience with law enforcement as they help you navigate your way here, as they help deal with traffic and make sure that you get here in a safe manner. It's patience with the folks when you get to the gate at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as we think about how you get in. And again, it's patience with your fans as you're walking up steps, you're moving throughout the facility, you're getting on an elevator, and you're trying to find your seats. It's just really important that you come early, that you plan how you're going to do it when you come here, and that you're very patient throughout that process. I think if you can keep those three things in mind, your day is going to be a pretty good day when we celebrate the 100th running here. One of the ways, I think, as you're thinking this through, that we can help you do some of your homework is you can download the IMS app. So we've just come up with the IMS, or just revitalized the IMS app here in the last few weeks. It's a great opportunity for you to keep up to date with news, opportunities, and when you get to the facility, it will help you navigate from point to point. Now, when you're navigating point to point, that's what that app will do. Remember that sometimes some of our busiest gates, just a few hundred feet away, could be another gate that is less busy. So, for example, we have 24 gates that are going to be open on race day. Our busiest gates on the west side of the racetrack are Gate 1, which is the new gate that's 16th and Georgetown in the roundabout. Gate 6, which is the gate just behind the media center and the pagoda here where the tunnel leads out to Lot 2, which is just to the west of the facility. And Gate 9, which is the gate up behind Turn 4. Those are our three busiest gates on the west side of the facility. But in between each of those gates, so in between Gate 1 and 6, in between Gate 6 and 9, just a few hundred feet away are many other gates. So when you come up to the facility, if the first gate you see is 1, 6, or 9, know that there are many other gates. So if you continue to pass those gates, you will find gates that are probably less busy and will help you get in. When you get to the gates, it's important to know that we will be checking coolers. We will be checking bags. We are going to do this in a way a little bit different than we've done in the past. We're all used to yellow shirts and safety patrol. Those folks will still be there, but their general responsibility will be to scan your ticket and make sure you know where you're going once you get into the facility. We will have security, ESG security, who are trained in going through bags and coolers. They will be going through those bags and coolers. So as you come up to the lanes, you will be met by both of those. Deputy Chief Bates is going to talk a little bit about a perimeter that we'll have set at gate 6 and at gate 1 to help you maybe even check your coolers a little ahead of time to help you get through the gates a little bit faster. We'll also have throughout the facility express lanes. If you come to the race, you don't have a cooler and you don't have a bag, find an express lane. You can get in, and you won't have to worry about having a cooler or bag check. That'll help you get in a little bit quicker as you go through the facility. And those will be marked as you come in to the racetrack. Again, it's important to remember that all of our parking inside the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and in Lot 1C, the former Coke lot, is sold out. So if you don't have a parking pass and you're coming from downtown, for example, on 16th Street, coming towards the Speedway, and you're wondering how long it's going to take till you get to the gate 2, which comes underneath turns 1 and 2, so that you can get in. Know that when you get there, we're gonna have you pass along, because without a parking credential, you can't get in. So we encourage you to find another route to get to the Speedway if you aren't coming into the Speedway because of those credentials. Same goes for our camping and our parking lots on the outside. Our camping is completely sold out. So for those folks who are thinking they can show up on Thursday, Friday, Saturday night and get in and camp, there is no camping available. You unfortunately will be turned away. So you need to think about that as well as you're coming to the Speedway. If you don't want to drive, we have other options as well. Taxi, Uber, free enterprise, all to get you here to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Taxis and Ubers will drop off down on Main and Gilman in the town of Speedway, a short walk just south of Gate 1. And Free Enterprise, it has several buses that will be coming from downtown and bringing people off and then taking them back, and you can find more information about that on the Free Enterprise website. That gives you a pretty good idea of what to expect when you come here. Again, it's just really important that you show up early. You plan where you're going to go, and in particular, you plan where you're going to park. When I first came to the Indianapolis 500 with my dad in 1977, and for the many years that we came together, we parked down at 10th Street in the town of Speedway and walked a little over 1.5 miles for us to get to our paddock penthouse seats. It was part of the fun. Part of the fun was celebrating that walk with other fans, carrying your cooler, enjoying that walk. And then on the way back, it was fun to walk and talk to fans who were either excited that A.J. Foyt had won his 4th or upset that Gordon Johncock's car had stopped early and he didn't get a chance to win his 2nd at that point in time. So those are the things that make being part of this event so special. I've said a lot this year that it's much more than what happens on the track. It is the entire experience. And if there's one thing that Allison Melanchthon has taught us at the Speedway, is your experience starts when you leave your house and doesn't end until you get home. And we're trying to do the best we can to help you manage that entire process. We want it all to go smoothly. And again, it's all about being early, planning how you're going to move and how you're going to get here, and just being real patient. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mike Bates to talk a little bit more specific related to some of the security measures that are in place for this year's 500.
Well done, well done. So thanks everybody. Again, Mike Bates is my name. I've been out here since January. I was blessed enough that Allison remembered me and Mark from the Super Bowl. So what a great place to retire to, if you really want to call it retiring. So retired on a Wednesday, started out here on a Thursday. But I am truly blessed. But as Doug alluded to, this year, obviously, with the increase in crowd and the numbers that we have, certainly we're going to increase the public safety presence out here. I mean, that's kind of a given, which is what we have done. You know, I think we are probably up close to 20% above what we had last year with regards to, you know, not so much just all police officers, but public safety. And sometimes I'm remiss, I forget to mention fire and EMS, but they are so important to make it work, to make us all safe. Please, obviously, it could be a law enforcement-driven event, but the point is the partnerships are something that we couldn't do without fire and EMS. So they're huge helps. But a lot of the police officers, as Doug alluded to, we'll have them on all the gates. So they'll be there. They'll monitor the gates. They'll help us. If we have any issues with gates whatsoever. ESG will do a great job for us. Everyone needs to please remember the expectation that whether you're walking or you're driving in, the expectation that you're going to be stopped and you're going to be searched, your cooler and your bag is going to be searched, and that it does include a vehicle or a person walking into the gate. So everybody needs to have that expectation that could possibly happen. That is the intent at this point. We're going to try to do our best as far as that goes. You know, it's really a team effort. Like I mentioned, we talk about all the multiple agencies involved literally dozens of agencies to make this successful. And we are blessed, Indianapolis. We have the support of all of our partners, local, state, and federal, but we couldn't do it without them. And I think that's what makes us work. Just a couple things that we're doing that we've done differently this year is we're adding additional canines to help us search vehicles, to help us basically in the perimeters to monitor those things. So they'll primarily be all over the facility, but we'll see a large contingency up near the north end where the majority of the vehicles come in Tunnel 10 that are entering inside of the track. That was something we felt like we needed to kind of look at. In addition to that, we'll have the LPR cars, license plate reader vehicles out here. The IMPD has been so gracious to supply those out here. And what they will do is they will be scanning license plates. And so anybody that is coming in, well, obviously we won't get every plate, but the point is we're going to get as many license plates as we can. You know, the whole point of that is to look for vehicles that are stolen or, depending on the registration, wanted individuals that are trying to come in here and potentially cause harm. We don't want that to happen. So they'll be primarily on the north side. We have a couple of vehicles out here. They'll be in and outside the track, moving around, taking pictures of license plates. And depending on obviously what happens, we will address the issue if we get a vehicle that is not supposed to be here. We will address that at that point. So there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of things that we've enhanced this year that I can't really talk about based on the fact that they're federal assets. But rest assured that we have a number of safety involved features in place that are really going to help all the fans stay safe. And like I said, you'll see a lot of uniformed personnel out there, but you'll also not see a lot of people out here that are out there. So in other words, there'll be a lot of plainclothes officers walking around monitoring. So it's just important that fans understand that the security obviously this year has really been ramped up. I think it's important. I certainly can't take credit for that. Security has always been very, very good out here regardless, but with the increase in people and fans attending, we thought it was really our due diligence to bump those up. So those are just a few of the things that we're trying to do. Like I said, please understand, the folks inspecting the bags and the coolers, that is going to happen. So we're primarily, everybody should have that expectation. So it's really important that everybody just be patient, as Doug had mentioned. It's going to take a while. I mean, there's no question about it. We have additional officers inside and outside the track to deal with the ingress and egress, especially after the race. So those are things to remember. It's going to take, with the crowd this size, it's just going to take a while to get home and to get here. So people leave early. If you're here after the race, if you're here when the race ends, take your time. Just keep enjoying yourself, whatever you're doing for an hour or so. It'll make your drive home much, much less stressful. So other than that, then let me introduce Paul Dvorak from he's the special agent in charge of the U.S. Secret Service, the Indianapolis office.